Welcome to the Dr. Wyatt Marriage Podcast, where developing a long-lasting, happy relationship is the status symbol to achieve, and following my tools is one path to help get you there. I'm your host, Dr. Wyatt Fisher, a licensed psychologist specializing in couples counseling. If you're ready to resolve your resentments and get your marriage back on track, join me in Dallas, April 27th for my marriage conference. This marriage conference is part of my ER Marriage Intensive. When you sign up for my ER Marriage Intensive, it includes the conference. It's one of the 4 pieces included in the ER Marriage Intensive. My ER Marriage Intensive is my most comprehensive resource for couples to get their marriage back on track in 30 days. So if you're feeling hopeless, if you're hanging on by a thread, if you have a lot of resentments, go through my ER Marriage Intensive, and then I look forward to meeting you in Dallas, April 27th. To learn more, click the link in the show note or go to my website, drwyattfisher.com, and click on ER Marriage Intensive. So today I'm talking about developing the right cocktail for your marriage. Do you make drinks, or have you ever made drinks, or have you ever ordered drinks? I'm sure you have done at least one of those. And when you're ordering a drink or you're making a drink, it takes a certain amount of ingredients. You have to have the certain proportions of different liqueurs or different juices or different liquids for it to turn out just right. And that's why good bartenders are admired, because they can make so many different drinks. They know how much of each alcohol to contribute. They know how much to stir. They know how much to shake. They know the right cocktail to provide the right drink to make the customer happy. And guess what? Your marriage is a cocktail. The goal of your marriage, to make it successful, to make it happy, is figuring out the cocktail and then making that new cocktail your new normal with how you function in your relationship. So in the episode today, I'm going to share the cocktail I've had to work on to keep my wife happy. Now, this is the Love Bucket tool. I have a lot of different tools that I teach. I have 11 tools total. This is one of my favorite tools I teach on, called the Love Buckets. And so the Love Buckets are the cocktail. It shows you exactly what your partner wants and exactly what your partner doesn't want. And if you can figure out that cocktail and sustain it long enough, your partner's going to be happy and your marriage is going to improve. So here are the top 3 things my wife needs for her to feel happy in our relationship. The first thing that she needs is staying connected. And staying connected means I need to do a really good job of asking her a lot of questions, staying updated on her life, asking her follow-up questions. Hey, how's that going for you over there? Hey, how's that conflict with your friend over here? Hey, any updates on that dance class you're doing? The more I can stay updated on her life and stay connected with her so she feels like she's being seen and known, the happier she gets. So I've had to work on that. I've had to prioritize that. I've had to keep that top of mind and prioritize our quality time together so that she feels seen and that she feels connected. And my wife loves the mornings. So we have a routine of at least 4 mornings of the week. We call it coffee time, where we sit down. We have these 2 lazy boy rocking chairs. She likes us to be really close together so each of our legs can go on the other person's lazy boy. And we sit there and just rock and look at each other while we talk and while we share, and we do our head-heart check. And that means a lot to her. So that's part of the cocktail for me to make sure she's feeling happy. Another part of the cocktail is hanging out. So she really values quality time. And this is more as a family hanging out. So she loves it when I'm just hanging out, I'm just in the house, I'm lounging, I'm just socializing. Even if I'm working on my phone, but I'm lounging on the couch, she loves to see that. Because sometimes I start working too much and then she doesn't see me hanging out enough. But it just does her soul good to see me hanging out, making time for relaxation, spending time with the family. So that's another ingredient in the cocktail that keeps her happy. A third ingredient that keeps her happy in the cocktail is tender touch. And I've had to really work at this because tender touch is not my strong suit. I tend to do more firm touch. So my natural tendency when I'm touching is to squeeze or pat on the back or just touch firmly. That's how I was touched growing up. My mom growing up, she gave me a lot of affection, but it was always firm affection. So she'd hug me tight or she'd pat me on the back or squeeze my arm. And that's how I tend to touch. But my wife was raised by a mother who gave her light tickles. It was always really gentle, really delicate, really light. And I hate that kind of touch personally, But I've had to really work at touching her that way. And I still have to be mindful of it because my natural tendency is to want to go up to her and just touch her really firmly because that's my natural bent. But I have to remember, nope, I have to touch her gently. And touching her gently and tenderly, that's another important ingredient of the cocktail in our marriage I know that keeps her happy. Now I'm going to talk about the 3 things I have to make sure I don't do because these 3 things ruin the cocktail. It's like putting vinegar in the drink. It's going to ruin the taste. It's going to make it unpleasant. It's going to make you spit it out of your mouth. And so if you're putting all the right ingredients in, but then you're also putting in these bad ingredients, the drink is not going to turn out. The cocktail is not going to taste good. You're going to spit it out of your mouth. So for me to keep my wife happy, I've had to learn what to put in the drink and what to make sure I keep out of the drink, out of the cocktail. So one thing I have to make sure I keep out of the cocktail is making sure I'm not making decisions independently. I tend to be a very independent person. I tend to be very strong-willed. Growing up, my mom gave me a long rope, for better or for worse. And so I got to come and go as I pleased. I got to do what I wanted, when I wanted. I didn't have any rules. And what that did to me as a young person is it made my will very strong. So I'm very independent, very autonomous. And sometimes I can come out with my decision making, and that can make my wife feel voiceless. And so I've had to really be careful and work on this through the years to make sure I'm sharing power with her and that I'm not just going off my own direction, making my own decisions without consulting her first. So if I start doing that, making decisions without consulting her first on topics that matter to her, that is like putting vinegar into the cocktail. It ruins the drink. Another thing I've had to make sure I reduce and stop doing because it also ruins the cocktail is not being open to her influence. So when I'm talking about something, I'm discussing a challenge I'm facing or something I'm going through, if she offers advice, if she offers feedback and I dismiss it, that makes her feel like I'm not valuing her input. And that can be like vinegar in the cocktail. It makes her feel negative, makes her feel like she doesn't have anything worthwhile to offer me, that I just have it all figured out. And so I have to make sure I'm teachable and that I'm open to her feedback instead of dismissing her feedback. Because again, if I dismiss her feedback, that makes her feel voiceless and that she doesn't have value to offer me. So that's another thing that can be like vinegar in the drink. It makes her want to spit it out of her mouth. It ruins the cocktail. So that's another element I've had to work on to make sure that the cocktail still tastes good in our marriage. A third thing I've had to reduce in our relationship is having too many boundaries with our kids. My wife and I are on opposite ends of the spectrum when it comes to parenting. She tends to be more of the permissive parent. No rules, easygoing, it's always a yes. I tend to lean the other direction where I have more boundaries, more guidelines, more rules. And we have had a lot of issues on parenting through the years, and we've had to learn how to share power on parenting to bring her strengths and my strengths together to form a unified front. And that's not always been easy. There's been times when we have not shared power, and her lack of rules created frustration for me. And there's also been times when my over-boundary tendency has ruled, and that's created frustration for her. And so we have gotten a lot better at this through the years of when we're in disagreement, we will go behind closed doors, and then we bounce the ball and share power and try to strike a compromise that works for both of us. Because only then can I expect her to follow through. Only then can she expect me to follow through because we both have had a voice and we've shared power in order to be a unified front. So because she's more lenient, because she's more easygoing when it comes to parenting, if I have too many boundaries, that goes against her value system and that can be a drainer for her. That can be like putting vinegar in that cocktail. So I've had to work at through the years to be more flexible as a parent and to loosen up at times and to allow our kids to have more independence with decisions they want to be making. Because I know if I have too many boundaries, not only can that create issues with my children and me, but it also can create issues for my wife because it is just like putting vinegar into the cocktail. So if I want that cocktail to stay delicious, if I want it to taste good, if I want that cocktail to keep lasting for a long time, then I need to reduce these behaviors because whether I like it or not, they are like vinegar to the cocktail for my wife. And my goal as the partner of my wife is to keep her happy. That's my goal. I want her to be happy, because if she's happy and she's satisfied, that's going to be reciprocated to me. That's going to motivate her to want to work on my cocktail, of doing all the ingredients for my cocktail to make it taste good, to reduce all the things that create vinegar in that cocktail, which would make it not taste good. So the more I make her happy, the more I serve my wife, the more mindful I am about what she needs and what she doesn't want, the more that naturally inspires her to do the same for me. How much do you think like that in your relationship? How much are you thinking, what is the right cocktail? What are the right ingredients to keep my partner happy? What are the things they want more of from me and the things they want less of from me? That's the cocktail. And every marriage has a unique cocktail, because every partner has different things they need and different things they don't want. And I see this all the time with the couples I work with in my practice. It's always a unique cocktail per couple of what they need to be happy, because each partner's fillers and drainers are unique. Each partner's ingredients they like in that cocktail and each partner's ingredients they don't like are unique to the couple. So the question is, what is your cocktail? Do you know the cocktail? At the minimum, you need to be talking with your partner and ask her or him, what are the top ingredients you need to feel happy in this marriage? And what are the top things I do that makes you unhappy? That is the cocktail. They are going to tell you the ingredients of how to make the best drink to keep them happy. And once you hear what the ingredients are to make them happy, what they want more of, what they want less of to create that ideal cocktail, then you have to sustain the gain. You have to learn how to make those changes, and then you have to sustain those gains, and then you want to ask your partner's feedback on that cocktail on a regular basis, because through their feedback, you'll learn if you're hitting the mark or if you're off, or what you're doing well, or how you can improve. You need that regular feedback in order to not just create the cocktail, but continue to create it on a regular basis in a way that works best for your partner. If you can't make it to my Dallas retreat April 27th, consider joining my Tools Marriage course. Tools is my most cost-effective resource I provide for couples. If you want to learn all my tools, join Tools. Tools is my live marriage class every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. The cost is $199 a month, and you can submit it to insurance to get reimbursement because it qualifies for group therapy. And what we do inside Tools is we learn one tool every week. I teach about it, we role play it, we discuss it. Any questions you have, you can ask me about it. It's just an amazing way to keep feeding and building your relationship live every single week in a very cost-effective manner. If you found value in today's episode, be sure to click the 5 stars and leave a review. And be sure to share this episode with one other person. Pay it forward. Click the share button. Send it to your friend. Send it to your colleague. Send it to your neighbor, someone that you know could benefit from a healthier relationship. If you have questions for me you want me to answer on the podcast, leave a voicemail at 303-578-0618. And remember, your marriage is alive. If you care for it and nurture it, it will grow. But if you deprive it and neglect it, it will wilt and die. The choice is up to you. Take care.